Today, we're going to be taking a look at the premiere issue of Rocket Magazine. Now, as far as I can tell, this is a really rare magazine because I can find basically no information about this magazine online. I don't even know how many issues were ever made. I have the first one and the second one, and after that I have no idea what happened to this magazine. As far as I can tell, it was an offshoot or a spin-off type magazine from the Play magazine that I featured a little while ago. So, join me as I take a look inside the premiere issue of Rocket Magazine. I don't know if anyone's ever documented this online before, so let's take a look. So here's the opening article from the creator, Liftoff. Some of the topics discussed in this issue. Did anybody play Magic the Gathering? For a little while I was collecting the cards because the artwork was so cool, but I never actually played it how it's supposed to be played, but I still think the artwork of Magic the Gathering cards is super cool. Rocket Profile 001. The top still is from the Boondocks. I remember really liking that show when it was on Adult Swim. I think there was talk at some point about bringing it back for another season, but obviously that never happened. Here's the big feature on Ghost Rider. I think at this time, a lot of studios were really trying to get into that superhero fantasy film genre. There's a whole article on the movie. And then from the cover, Hellboy, Sword of Dreams. I never watched this, but I did watch the live action movies. I wonder if they're ever going to make another one of those. And a review of Shinobi, Heart Under Blade. They gave it a B rocket rating. Okay, and here's the big feature that they did on the movie 300. This came out around my college years, and I think just about every guy had a copy of this in their dorm, and everybody was like, do you want to watch this on my laptop? It's not a great way to watch this movie, but I probably watched the movie 300 on a laptop like a dozen times, because everybody at the time just wanted to watch it. It's a very visually striking movie for sure. I'm sure this will be a contentious list potentially, or maybe not. The top 25 sci-fi films of all time as of 2007 when this came out. And the editors and writers all have their own lists, but let's take a look at the overall top 25 rocket list. Number 1 of all time is Blade Runner, followed by Alien at number 2, and Star Wars 5, The Empire Strikes Back. I mean, Terminator 2, Alien, Star Trek, Jurassic Park, Matrix, The Thing, Minority Report at 17. I actually had a friend at the time who was an extra in Minority Report, and I remember thinking that was like the coolest thing ever. He got to go to the premiere of the movie, and anytime I watch that movie with anyone else, I always make sure to point out the 5 seconds that he's on screen. That's a pretty solid list, I think. And then, of course, all the other editors are going to have a little different spin. We got the original Star Wars making the number 1 over here, and Aliens making number 1 over here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Arthur and the Invisibles. This is, to me, very 2007 CG. Just kind of has a weird sheen to everything. Just did not age super gracefully. The magic of CGI. Well, maybe at the time it looked good. Rocket's 2007 film forecast. We have the Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix coming out. It's right after all the main characters got a haircut from the fourth movie. Much appreciated. And 28 weeks later was coming out. And now I think they're doing a 28 years later. So hopefully that's good. The Simpsons movie. Resident Evil Extinction. I Am Legend. The very divisive Spider-Man 3. Certainly a love it or hate it movie. Ratatouille was coming out. See, that's why I think it was their advertising elements of Play Magazine. Metalocalypse. Snakes on a Plane. Gets a D and a C+. I never actually watched that movie, but I have seen a lot of jokes and memes that came out of this movie. The Prestige. Oh, that was a good movie. They gave it an A-. I feel like it was they were making a bunch of, maybe not a bunch, but magic centered movies back then, and I don't really think that's really a thing anymore, but The Prestige is a good movie. Paprika. See, they were again advertising Play Magazine here. Hellsing Ultimate. It says Alucard needs some eye drops. I think he's going to be okay. Although that would be pretty funny if he took a break to put in eye drops. Ghost in the Shell, standalone complex. I still remember there was one episode with, I think her name was, she's the Major? Is that what it was? Her backstory, and there's like a sniper involved in the backstory, and that episode was really good. It's one of the few that I actually remember. Afro Samurai. This character was voiced by Samuel L. Jackson. That's pretty cool. And on this page, they talk about Fooly Cooly Ultimate DVD Collection. I remember the first time I watched this on Adult Swim. It was kind of a mind-blowing experience. It's very visually interesting and chaotic type of show. And I wanted to show, I think these were the original DVD release, but they just have some of the coolest artwork on the discs. It's just super awesome. So this is disc 1, and these only had 2 episodes apiece, which was highway robbery, I think. But if you wanted to watch these at the time, that's what you had to do. So that's the first disc. And then the second one, another really interesting artwork on that disc. And then the third and final is really awesome. Brittle Bullet is a really, really good episode. I mean, they're all good, but I remember this is one that I would rewatch. Just like the whole show is so goofy. And then, since then, there's the Blu-ray copy, which is a much more reasonable single disc. And it's colorful, but not quite as cool as the DVD copy, I think. Let me know what you guys think. Or if you've ever seen the show, or if it's too weird, or what you guys thought about it when you first watched it. It's definitely an experience, and the whole show is very short. So it's easily, you could watch it in an afternoon if you wanted to. Yeah, 150 minutes. So, and this looks like a different set that was released, but definitely a very interesting show. And then we have Porco Rosso. It's a Miyazaki film. I don't think this one gets talked about as much as some of the other ones. They gave it an A ranking. Do you guys have a favorite Miyazaki film? It's hard to choose because there's so many good ones. Castle in the Sky and Howl's Moving Castle and Spirited Away. They're all such great movies. So I just looked that up, and this website I don't think even exists anymore. So I don't even know if you signed up, if you even got 12 issues or not. So weird. And then behind that we have a feature on Samurai Champloo. They gave it an A+, and I agree. It has these really cool record looking Blu-ray discs. I feel like there's not quite as many self-contained shows as much anymore. This was 26 episodes, and that's the whole story. Now, I like watching longer shows like One Piece, but sometimes it's nice just to have the whole story told in basically one season, which this show does. Very good anime. Three Days Grace. This was pretty popular in the high school years of 2007 time frame. history of video game movies, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So they liked Silent Hill 2006 and Tron, Final Fantasy Advent Children 2005. So that was I remember being impressive CG. Let's see. They did not like Tomb Raider, Cradle of Life. And they really didn't like House of the Dead. Or yeah, of course, the Super Mario Brothers movie. The old one. The real Laura. Playing a DS Lite right there. And that concludes this issue. On the back there's an ad for The Messengers. I know I watched this movie, but I think it takes place on a farm, but that's about the only thing I could tell you, which means it probably wasn't that great, but who knows. So that wraps up the premiere issue, one of ? Of Rocket Magazine. It covers pop culture and multimedia. Let me know if you've ever heard of this magazine or know anything about it, because I could not find basically anything about this magazine online. So I thought it'd be fun just to flip through it and see what's in a magazine that clearly very few people ever looked at. But until the next one, happy gaming and happy movie and anime